right, so here's what I have used. This is a 3M Auto Bedding and Glaze Compound 08509. Now, being we had Lexan in this car, I had drilled holes all in the flange for the rivets, okay? So I needed to fill them up. The very first time we did it was we laid the Buell tape right here in the corner, and then we roped in our gasket. And I'm about to show y'all all that, here in a few. What that led to is that the Buell tape, I'm pretty sure, did not seal right here to this edge. Some of it was in, and some of the water possibly went under it and leaked, whatever. I only had a problem with the upper corner right there, nothing else. This stuff never hardens up. So this bedding compound and the Buell tape will never harden up. It always stays soft. So as it gets hot, it kind of squishes and it's supposed to like ooze, and it's not going to drip out or anything, but it's never going to harden up. You don't want to glue these windshields in like modern day with urethane, because they say these bodies are supposed to move and that windshield is supposed to kind of float in there. Even though the car is way rigider now, you'd probably be okay gluing it in, but we're not chancing it. Plus, I like to be able to take it in and out easier than a urethane end glass, because you have to pretty much saw that out. This, you kind of just cut the rubber seal and you can literally take your windshield right out. You have to replace the windshield, do all this over again, but it's not glued in. I actually need to get that stuff back out because I missed a hole. So here's what I was covering up. See that right there? So that's what I was working on covering up, is that kind of thing. What I was doing with this is literally just taking it on my finger and putting it on there, but then you have to clean your fingers off with paint thinner. So if you want to wear gloves, wear gloves. I'm used to having messy fingers. That hole right there is for your trim. So that one doesn't get filled and your water will run down in here, not up here really. That one gets a screw in it, so you don't fill that one in. But like I said, you won't have to necessarily do this step unless you have holes all in yours. Okay, for your windshield, for the Maverick, this is the company that I got my gasket through. This is off eBay, so you should be able to just type in for Maverick windshield gasket on eBay and find it. But if you need the part number, there is going to be the part number. That is going to be WCRD797. That's going to be the part number, okay? And the company looks like Quality Precision. So that's the package our gasket come in. All right, on your rubber, my windshield is laying like this, meaning this is the outside of the windshield, this is the inside of the car, this is the top, that's the bottom. Your gasket, this piece right here that's going to be this big wide flap, is going to be on the inside. This is what's going to go over top of your headliner and stuff like that. Your glass is going to go in this one. That's a lot tighter. Okay, so the glass is going to go on this side. When you're done, the outside, you're just going to see this nice square, more square edge, whereas the inside of the car is going to have this flap. So the glass is going to go in this more square side, and the flange of the car is going to go in more of this flap side. Now you can see this way better on the bottom, because this little flap on the bottom right here is going to cover up the screws on the dash. So what that flap is going to end up doing is pretty much riding here and covering all this. So we're going to take our rubber, and I'm going to put some Windex inside this channel right here, okay, just like when you're tinting windows. So not the body channel, this is the body channel. We're going to put it inside the glass channel, okay, right here, and to make it slippery. And then we're going to work our windshield on this gasket. I am going to put a towel down and flip it the other way so that this is not sitting on the table. And we're going to work that on and get that on, and I'll show you the next step, and I'll show you how that looks when that's installed. Okay, so we're going to spray. We're just using soap and water. Actually gonna have to go get some more. You're gonna kind of just roll it like you're getting wires in wire loom. You know how you put wires, you kind of roll the wire loom open to get it in. So that's what you're gonna do, is you're just gonna kind of, once you get it started, and it's not too hard to get in. While I'm doing this, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you go subscribe. Smash that bell button so you can get notified on the next video. And go ahead and give me a thumbs up, man. I think I'll give y'all enough information. Greatly appreciate it. All right, so there's our gasket on. So this is the inside of the window, as you can tell because of our rearview mirror mount. You can see on the bottom we have this big flap that's going to go in, and on the outside we have the more square seal. So another piece that I had trouble with when I originally put my windshield in is these. So if you took yours out, you might have noticed that these come out of it. Oops, there's a clip. I have my originals, and I had to do a little research on where these went back, because I had actually forgot. So what they do is they go across the bottom, and this is what the weight of the glass sits on so that it doesn't slide down and open up, you know, the top. So you've got your pins here. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is on our end. This spacing in here will only fit certain ones. So if you look at these first two, you got here and here, okay? That doesn't fit. You can see the head over there, and you can see the groove right there, okay? So that don't fit. If you go way down here near this hump, okay, that also don't fit. You can see right there that don't fit. But if you go to the center, that fits perfect, and that's the way it's gonna sit. So it's gonna kind of squish down in some of my bedding that I had on there, and then you're gonna do a couple more across the bottom. Again, all these do is just hold the weight of the windshield. So it's not like it's a super important thing, like you have to scientifically get this right, but you definitely wanna make sure they're in there. We got that right there, okay? So it fits right there between them two. As you can see the spacing on these little prongs, like it's only gonna fit in certain ones, and these also have to get clips on them, which can be a pain. And then this one right here, it don't have another prong. So let's see here, that one we have, that one's right there. We skipped one pin and then we went there. So we'll come over here, skip this pin, and we'll go right here. I don't know why I have one missing, not unless one broke off and then, you know, when I refinished the body of the car, painted over it and it's completely gone because there's no signs of it. But that's how I'm gonna do mine. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gonna carry the weight of the windshield. All right, so we had a little bit of a rough night last night, and we stopped on this thing, tried to get it installed, and the way I was doing it was just simply not going to work, to say the least. So got up this morning, went and grabbed some bedding compound, and that is where we're going to pick up today, so I don't want to confuse anybody with all of the details on what I was attempting to do last night. So what we need is you're going to need your 3M08509. This is auto bedding compound. What we're going to do now that we have our rubber seal around our glass, put it in the channel that goes onto the car. So that's going to be this channel right here. Your glass is in the other channel down there. This is going to be the channel that goes onto the car. So we're going to take our caulking gun, and we're just going to put this inside the channel all the way around, a decent bit up in there, and then we'll put our rope in. Try to push it up in there as deep as possible, because we also have to sit a rope up in here. All right, what we're gonna do next, so I'm just gonna take my rope, tape it up here. This is going to be the passenger side. This is where we're going to start at. We're just going to fish this thing in all the way around. So we're just going to put that rope right up inside the edge. This is called roping in a windshield. So each manufacturer, it seems like everybody that you watch is a little different, but they're all basically the same. Some people also take this and soak this rope in soapy water so that it pulls out easier. I don't see a need to do that. If you YouTube roping in a windshield, you can get all kinds of different videos. It just seems like there's none for the Ford Maverick. The closest thing to the Ford Maverick is going to be the Mustang, like 68-ish. But like I said, it's all pretty much the same. So if you want to watch some other videos to get some ideas before you go out there and try to tackle this, have at it. Never hurts to have more than one opinion. So the one that we're going to pull, because I want to, actually this is driver's side, so we're going to start on the driver's side. When I set this in, the one I'm going to be pulling is this one, because it goes that way. So the double is the one that I want to pull first to get it started. All right, let's see if we can set this thing in there, not make a huge mess. Just gonna make sure our windshield is centered left to right the best as possible. And swap out another pair of gloves. My hands are already dirty. This stuff is messy, man. I hate it. Especially doing it by yourself really sucks. All right, it's in. It is in, but what a freaking nightmare. Dude, I got it all over the dash. And the funny thing is, the first time we put the windshield in, I protected the dash with tape and paper. Like I papered up my dash, masked it off. That way the rope wouldn't get on it. And then when we installed it that way, like I said, the rope didn't get in the stuff because of the way we did it, which we ended up having, you know, a leak up here. But this time the rope just got covered in the crap. So that's gonna go in the trash, but it got all over the freaking dash. It got all over the roll cage. All I did is, if you get it on there, don't take paint thinner, just take some of this stuff right here. I guess maybe other stuff will work. This stuff works good. And just soak it with that. And then just put in some good old elbow grease with a rag, and you can pretty much, it'll pretty much come off because the stuff doesn't actually harden up, you know, like we said. So now all I gotta do is just go around, work my seal, make sure everything is sitting where it's supposed to be. I really struggled with this, y'all, by myself. I struggled really bad with this. So I think the windshield was a little too low on this side. So I had to take a mixture of the pry bars, which you should never do. But in a situation where you have the windshield in there, there ain't really much more you can do besides put that in there and just gently kind of bump it up while you're smacking the glass, you know, and kind of ramming it up. Don't hit it with your fist. Don't push on it with your thumbs because you're creating pressure points and that can crack your windshield. But as long as you're slapping your glass with an open palm, then you'll be okay. 9 out of 10 times, you're not gonna crack it. So actually, I'm just about safe to say 10 out of 10 times, you're not gonna crack it as long as you're using an open palm. But now we just got to make sure this gasket is rolled up like it's supposed to be. This windshield really still needs to go up some. Honestly, I feel like, or this gasket be pushed down inside the car because it's like the gasket needs to roll just a little. But I mean, we're sitting on our stops, so our stops set how deep you are. So we're definitely not too deep down. By any means, the glass is not too deep. It's impossible with them stops there because that's what them are for, is literally for the glass to sit on. So if anything, it's just kind of like it just needs to fall into place. And vibrations and putting this thing in the sun and stuff will move it around and help it fall into place a little bit because it is just a floating windshield basically in the car. But I am happy to have the windshield back in this car and the Lexan out. That was one thing that honestly I didn't want to do. Or if I had put the Lexan in there that was tinted, then, you know, I would have been happy. But I was just afraid that the tinted Lexan was too dark. You wouldn't be able to see. Oh, excuse me. You won't be able to see out of it because you can see the tinted Lexan over there, and you can see the windshield looking out of it through real tint. So it's pretty dark compared to the windshield. But when you're on the outside of the car looking in, you know, the windshield is a really good tinted look. Almost looks like the same on the outside. But it's just, I think it's just the difference in Lexan versus actual glass with window tint. So I think this thing looks really good. We'll get the trim back in it, maybe make some other changes. But my goal here is to kind of clean up this shop a little and get this thing back on wheels so we can roll this thing in and out, possibly if I don't move on to working on the wishbone under the car or something. All right, so to put your trim clips in, how do I do mine? This is a trim clip. It's an old one Everybody knows what they look like. What I do is I sit mine in place with my finger. I take me a mixing stick, as you can see, and I put it right there like that, okay? And then I just hit the mixing stick with a dead blow hammer. That way, if the dead blow hammer hits the paint, it does not chip it, because it's not a hard item, it's a soft item. You can also use a little bit softer mallet if you need to, but I literally just hold it like that. I don't hold it like this because that will split the wood. Sometimes the corners still break off like that side. I got a couple in with that side and the corner chipped off. But that's all I do to do mine. And now sometimes it does, that's an old chip, but sometimes it drags the paint, such as this right here. And we'll chip it when it's going in, you know, but that gets covered up by the molding when you pop the molding in. So that's how I install mine. Hopefully that might help you out if you've been having a hard time installing them and if you don't have the actual special tool, because they do make an actual tool to put them in with.